Morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good
Michael, go
morning.
ahead.
Hey, Coach. So obviously, with your last game against Virginia Tech being called off due to COVID, and with BC just coming out of COVID protocols, I did want to ask, how is your team doing health-wise?
Our team is doing great. We're very fortunate that everybody's safe and healthy, and I also had a really great conversation with Coach Young of Virginia Tech, and the biggest concern was just making sure him and his staff and his players are all okay, and all of his coaching staff, himself and his players are doing well also. And so, but fortunate for us, all of us, coaches, players, everyone has been safe and healthy, and every day we're doing all the things that we need to do to put ourselves in a position to continue to stay healthy as well.
And with the 11 days, I guess it will be between games between Boston College and Appalachian. What have you been doing with the team just to keep them sort of in that in-season mindset, I guess?
Well, when they got back home from Christmas break, which I really was happy that they had an opportunity to spend, 3 or 4 days with family and friends. I felt like it was needed for them. And as they came back, what is it, the evening of the 26th, we got right back into it, in our preparation for Virginia Tech. One thing that I would say maybe a couple things. Number one, on Wednesday, the day that we were supposed to play Virginia Tech, we had just an inter-squad scrimmage, and I just felt like, playing close to a game as possible was beneficial for us, and I really felt like that we benefited from that on Wednesday. And then also it's just has given us more time to just reemphasize what we want to do on a defensive end in terms of protecting the paint, how important it is guarding the basketball, how important it is to make sure no layups, no dunks, and that we're contesting every shot. And we've used this time to really continue to hone in on, the foundation pieces on both ends of the floor that we've been trying to stress the entire season.
Thank you.
Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach, staying on that, when the guys go away for a few days and come back, do you kind of sense sometimes a renewed vigor or renewed energy? Because sometimes clearing your mind for a couple of days is really, really healthy. And has that maybe enhanced the quality of the practices that you've been able to have this past week?
Well, the practices have been really good. I got to, I didn't think I could get any more renewed, any more energy, and I got renewed and more energy from the Christmas break, and in terms of just the motivation to be the best team that we could possibly be. Our practices have always been really competitive because everything that we do in practice is competition. And so if you're not a competitive person, if you don't bring the energy and the effort and the toughness that I've talked about, that is not needed. It's not just needed, it is required for our team every day, then you're going to struggle in practice. So our practices have been great. I have, our guys play, and they were really excited that when we finally were able to finalize that we were playing Boston College on Sunday. And so we're really excited about the opportunity to compete against a really good Boston College team.
With respect to the defensive work that you noted a few minutes ago, what maybe two areas do you believe the team really must get a lot better? And did you sense this week that maybe some progress was made there?
Well, two areas. Number one, being able to guard the ball. That's something coming into the season that was a huge emphasis, and how important it is to contain the basketball. If you contain the basketball, then you don't have to talk about the help and the rotations because you're able to guard the ball. And so just the importance of in the competitive fight to be able to say that I don't need any help. I'm gonna guard my man one-on-one. And the other thing is just protecting the paint. In the losses that we've had, there's been one consistent theme on the defensive end, and that has been we've just given up so many points in the paint, whether it's layups or post-ups, offensive rebounds, and that's something that, we talk about our end game from a defensive standpoint and things that that we're not going to allow, that we don't want to allow. And one of the things that we don't want to allow is any layups or dunks in any situation, whether it's in transition, full court, whether it's coming off of ball screens. Our end game is to protect the paint, and that's something that we have reinforced over the last 11 days. And I'm excited to see what it looks like when we play an opponent.
Seal Brown.
Hey, Hubert, I was wondering what, if anything, since we're kind of back in a situation like we were last year to some extent with postponement of games and everything, is there anything that you take from how you guys dealt with that last year and apply to this year, especially from a mental health perspective of the
Yeah, I think they're in a better place, this year compared to last year, being able to handle change. As I, went through this entire week of, the postponement of the game against Virginia Tech and who we're going to play on Saturday, who we're not going to play on Saturday, who might play on Sunday, what time we might play, we might not ever play this weekend. The guys were laughing about it, because this is something that they have dealt with over the last year and a half. And so, from their standpoint, I think, this is at a position that they've been at before. One of the things, CL, that, that I continue to tell them is we've got to focus on the things that we can control. We cannot control who we play, where we play, and at the time we play. So let's not spend any time thinking about that. Let's focus on the things that we do have control over. We have control over how we practice, how we prepare, and how we play. We have control over our energy and our effort and our toughness. And so if we bring our energy, effort, and toughness, and we practice the best that we can, we prepare the best that we play, and we play as hard as we can play, it really doesn't matter who we play, when we play, and the time that we play. And so those are the things that I continue to preach and tell the team, that the things that are most important, those are the things that we need to focus on.
Thank you.
Greg Barnes.
Hubert, this kind of hits on what you just said, but in terms of kind of scouting opponents, has there been any change that you've implemented this year after seeing how things went last year with kind of the hectic nature of the scheduling to streamline it better, or is it pretty much business as usual?
No, it's the same. It's pretty much business as usual. I mean, it was, we were all in our preparation mode for, playing against, Virginia Tech. And then when that game was postponed, our attention was on our preparation towards Boston College. And then when that didn't look like that was going to happen, our attention was focused on a couple other teams that, possibly we could play. And then it came back to Boston College. And so, in terms of our preparation, in terms of how we prepare, that hadn't changed. But, in terms of being flexible on any given day for plans to change, that is different. Usually in a week, we're not preparing for 4 teams, we're preparing for 2. And so, but in terms of our just regular routine of preparing for a game, that has always been the same, regardless of how flexible it is on any given day or whom we might play.
And Hubert, this is a little bit off topic, but you've been very open about your faith. This, of course, is a very important week in the Christian faith. For you to step away and spend some time with friends and family and embrace the holiday, what does that mean to you, and how important is that for you?
Well, it's important to spend time with family and friends, and it's important to spend time. That is not just during the holiday. I've said this before. It's in order. The important things to me is, first of all, my faith and my Christianity and my faith in Jesus. That's number one. Number two, it's my family. And number three, and it's this program, it's this job, it's this team, it's this university. And it's very important to spend time with family, friends, not just during the holiday season. It's every day. And it's also important time to spend time in the Word and spend time with Jesus every day. And It has nothing to do about the holiday season or Christmas or any particular time. That's something that's a part of my life every day.
Thank you.
Kip Coons.
Yeah, good morning, Hubert. Wish you an early Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
In looking at your schedule, you do not play a Sunday game after BC the rest of the season. At least you're not scheduled to. How difficult is that going to make squeezing in a midweek game if you've already had one postponement? How hard does that make it to find a mutually acceptable date? And are you willing to play on like 48 hours notice?
I'm not in charge of scheduling. And so I know that, there's going to have to be some pivots, some tweaks, some changes in order to get the full slate in because of just one postponement. And so, because what is needed in order to play the entire ACC season, they're going to have to be pivots, they're going to have to be changes, and they're going to have to be tweaks. And so, the schedule that as it is right now is going to have to be tweaked. It's going to have to be changed. And we understand that and we know that. And whenever they tell us to play, whatever time, whatever opponent, we will be there, whether it's home or on the road. And we're excited about that opportunity and excited about that challenge. I'm sure the guys would rather play a game than practice anyway. So it'd be great.
Just curiously, how does the mechanism work? Do the two schools arrange a mutually acceptable time, or does the conference office get involved? I've never been clear on how it progresses.
I'm not really clear on it as well. This is my first year as head coach, and so I know that a number of people, the athletic directors have conversations. I know the director of basketball operations have conversations. I know that the head coaches have conversations, and I know that the networks have conversations as well. And so there's a lot of moving parts. I know that I'm involved in the moving parts, but there are a lot of moving parts. But in terms of specifically knowing the how it plays out in terms of when you play, where you play, and at the time that you play, I don't know the full detail of that as of right now.
Daniel Myrick.
Hey, good morning, Coach. I have another off-topic question. I think this far into the season, everybody's noticed BDOT, and everybody seems to have a positive opinion about him. And I kind of wanted to never had an arena host before. Why was this year the year to bring in someone like that, and why was BDOT the guy you went with?
Well, I've said to a number of people, with me now becoming head coach, this is a great opportunity to try some things and to maybe pivot or tweak or change and to experiment and try things. And BDOT was so good with our late night celebration and his energy and the way that he engages with the crowds and the atmosphere. It was just off the chart. And we talked about him being a part of our daily routine in the game. And he's a part of our program. He's a part of our team. I love the energy that he brings to the Smith Center during the game. And I think it's a great addition to our game day experience.
Art Chansky.
Hey, Hubert.
Hey.
I don't know. Hubert.
Art, I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Steve, I had one.
Greg, go ahead.
Hubert, with the lack of energy, effort, and toughness against Kentucky and Tennessee, and like you've said, that's not the identity of your team that you want it to be. Have there been any conversations with the players about maybe using the bench as a motivator moving forward or anything like that?
Well, I have used the bench as a motivator, extended minutes for Ant Harris, extended minutes for DeMarco. I have done that. And when I don't see energy, effort, and toughness, then there will be substitutions. And so I have Justin McCoy's gotten extra additional minutes. And so I always believe that a great teacher is the bench, and a great motivator is sitting next to me on the bench. And so, as I said before, energy, effort, and toughness is not something that I'm asking for. It's something that is required. It is a must. And if I don't see it in practice and I don't see it in games, then you're not allowed to be out there on the floor. And but yes, the bench is a great motivator and teacher to make sure that the energy, effort, and toughness is coming.
Art, you were in there twice, and I deleted one of them. Try it again. All right. Well, with that, we are concluded for the session.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.